What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be talking about how dieting year-round keeps you closer to God. Now, before I dive into this topic, it's very important that we first define the word diet, all right? And the definition that I am going to be using in this video is consuming food which restricts oneself, either to lose weight or to avoid weight gain. Now, why is it so important that we make sure we find the correct definition? Well, because some people are going to automatically equate dieting to losing weight. And I am not saying that you should be losing weight year round, because if you continue to lose weight, if you stay in a deficit for years on end, you eventually will die, you will starve to death, because that's how it works, all right? There is no starvation mode. Sorry to burst your bubble. When you start eating super low calories, you're not all of a sudden going to get super fat out of nowhere, like a lot of people tend to think nowadays. That doesn't exist. If you stay in a deficit for too long, you will die. That is how people die of starvation, all right? But this definition of dieting, of constantly being in a deficit, isn't necessarily the one that we're going to use, and it's not necessarily accurate, because there are things like reverse dieting. Reverse dieting refers to a form of dieting where you are eating more, specifically after losing quite a bit of weight. And often it entails eating in a very slight surplus or at maintenance calories. And ultimately what the goal is here is to allow your body to start actively expending calories once again. So you'll notice your energy levels go up. And as time goes on in a reverse diet, you continue to eat more and more calories. So a diet has to do with restriction. That is the most important element. And I would argue that we live in a society today where it is almost impossible for people to eat according to their desire and still stay healthy. I think that this is clearly shown by the obesity epidemic, all right? And what you need to understand is that the foods we are eating today have been specifically designed to get us to eat as much of them as possible. Does that make sense to you? Scientists have legitimately been in labs trying to craft the perfect snack that makes you want to eat as many as possible, finish the entire bag, all 2,000 calories, and then go for more. Because what happens when you eat more of the product? Well, the person that's selling the product makes more money. Overall, more consumption equals more money for the person that is creating it. So it makes sense. And ultimately, the consumption is driven by what the consumer wants. And then what is created for the consumer. So it creates this cycle. And I don't like to sit back and blame capitalism like a lot of people. In fact, I love capitalism because I love freedom. I love America. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, these companies that are producing Oreos, they're so evil and they need to be sued because they literally made a food that we enjoy too much. Do you hear how ridiculous that is? That's insane. What we need to do is we need to put an extra emphasis on responsibility of the individual. Because the truth is, what is created in capitalism reflects our own wants and desires. And often it's amplified, all right? So every single person should be actively dieting, practicing restriction all year long, and taking care of their bodies, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit. All right? It's not vain to take care of your body. It's not vain to want to look good, to look attractive. It is not selfish of you as a father or a mother to take time out of your day to go exercise or to eat a specific way, to look a specific way, to feel a specific way. It is not selfish. It's one of the biggest problems that parents have in today's society. When asked, hey, why aren't you in shape? Why don't you try to get in better shape? They say that it feels selfish, like they should be spending that time on their children. Let me be 100% honest with you. When you start to pay more attention to your nutrition, you lose the excess body fat. You start to train more. Guess what happens? You get more energy for those around you. Your mood gets better. You get better not only for yourself, but for the people around you. All right? We're going to look at Daniel. All right? The character in the Bible, when given the choice foods of the kingdom, when he was brought into the kingdom of Babylon to work under the king, he rejected these foods. And he asks specifically for different foods. And he says, hey, I don't want to eat these things that everybody else has been given to eat. They were given tons of wine, extremely fatty meat. So we have to ask the question, why did Daniel decide to take a stand here? He's working in the palace of the king who sacked Jerusalem and dragged the Israelites into captivity. Why did Daniel decide to help this foreign king? Why did Daniel decide that this is where he was going to take a stand? Was with the food that he was eating. Why is that? Well, it's because he understood, even as a young man, that Babylon was notorious for relocating people groups. All right? When they would conquer a specific people group, they would move them to another area of the world. They would pick them up and drop them somewhere else on the map. Why did they do this? They did this to strip the people group of their national identity, of their religious practices, and to prevent rebellions, to keep the people docile and help them merge with the Babylonian Empire. All right? Babylon understood habits and how people work a lot better than most people today. One thing that you should definitely realize is that if you have really, really bad habits, one of the best things that you can do is relocate. Go somewhere else. Change your environment. If you're going to a new place, there is a chance to develop new habits. Those habits can either be good or they can be bad. So in Daniel's situation, he's taking a stand on these habits. Even though he's helping a foreign regime, even though he's helping a foreign kingdom, he decides to take the stand here because he knows that he becomes what he eats and he becomes the desires that he ultimately gives into. And it's up to him to make sure that he is separating himself a certain amount, that he is staying set apart, which is one of the most important things that you can do as a man and one of the most important things that you can do as a Christian. God had the Nazarites, which were a specific people group that were set apart. Think of Samson. The Nazarites in the Bible were a people that took a specific vow to God that they would not do specific things in order to practice dying to themselves. Why is this so important? Well, it's because if you read through the Bible, what you will realize is that we have a God that likes to choose people. He likes people to be set apart. He chose his own people, the Israelites. And then in the new covenant, that became everyone who believes in him. He likes it when people sacrifice. In the Old Testament, it was physical animals that we would sacrifice on an altar. With the new covenant, we are called to pick up our cross and follow him, which is our version of sacrifice every single day. So taking a stand with his nutrition was one of the ways that Daniel fought to honor his God and his heritage in a foreign land. And we as Christians, we know that we are in a foreign land today. Look around. We are currently living in the city of man, not in the city of God. The temptations are rampant. Augustine would say that we look forward into the future to one day hope to live in the city of God. Now, when you are in a constant state of dieting, this is similar to being in a constant state of fasting. Instead of eating absolutely nothing in order to get closer to God, in order to achieve some form of heightened enlightenment, you can practice dying to your desires every single day. What is the reason for so many religions practicing fasting? Well, it's because your desires come into alignment with God's when you sacrifice your earthly desires on the altar. As Christians, we are called to be in a constant state of sacrifice. Like I said earlier, picking up your cross and following Jesus. It's not an easy thing to do. You have to pick up your cross every single day. It's not something you just do for a short period of time and then, oh, it's over. One of the best ways to practice sacrificing is to give our desires to God. Things like working out every single day. Carving out that time to push yourself physically. Staying celibate. Not watching porn. Not giving into lust. Not getting drunk. Staying sober. All of these things are ways that we as Christians are called to pick up our cross, to die to ourselves. And if you are somebody who does not practice restraint in this area, specifically with nutrition or with exercise, I really encourage you to ask yourself, where am I sacrificing? Because the truth is, guys, I have always struggled with gluttony, and I have always struggled with lust. It's why I make so many YouTube videos about it. Is because not only do you guys need to hear a lot of what I have to say, but I need to hear a lot of what I have to say. Naturally, I love food. I want to eat so many different things, and I want to eat it until I'm sick and I hate myself. That's what my body wants me to do. Part of understanding yourself is understanding that there is a part of your human nature that is bent. It is bent on your own self-destruction. It is trying to get you to constantly do the things that you know that you shouldn't do and that ultimately aren't going to be good for you, but they scratch that itch. They give you that quick dopamine hit. So I have committed to fighting this battle against lust, against slothfulness, and against gluttony for the rest of my life. It's a battle that I have to wake up and fight every single day. I have to watch myself at every single meal and make sure that I am not indulging. Because the truth is that as time goes on, when you're in the city of man, or when you're in exile in a foreign land, and you continue to make compromises over and over and over again, what happens is exactly what Babylon wanted to happen. They want your identity to be washed away. They want you to forget your God. They want you to become one with the city of man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure to drop a like down below. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end, because if you did, you've got an amazing attention span, my friend. And I want to give you props for that. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.